You're Beth Chapel, and you're a liar and a thief.
You don't know me.
I think this season I'm most proud of episode 8 and how Beth navigates being challenged so hard, particularly by a racist demon.
Well, you know, we have been discussing a couple videos out there talking about the CW. We have one video coming out talking about Babylon 5 is about to get a reboot on the CW, and I discuss on how bad of a situation, even though J. Michael Straczynski is involved, you can't trust the CW with programming. Out of all the shows, really one, maybe two shows are, you know, scoring with the ratings at a high rate, which is anywhere between 800,000 to about 1 million viewers, which most of their average other shows are down to around 400,000 and below, which is very horrible for a TV network. Now, first, I just want to say, and before anybody criticizes and says, well, you've always hated the show and stuff like that, Stargirl, first season, I did enjoy. I really did like it. I watched it on the DC Universe app. It was a show that I thought it had promise. There was some little technicalities in between, but you know, I was to the point where, you know, I could pass along those because the storyline was pretty decent and introducing characters that generally you don't really see in the normal DC universe. And, you know, I have to say Amy Smart and Luke Wilson are doing a very good job acting in the series. You know, Brett Bassinger, who's playing Stargirl, she's doing very good. Yvette Montreal, you know, I mean, pretty much the cast is pretty good. Even the villains. I mean, one thing is I do love the villains, and I'm glad they did Sportmaster correct in this. I thought they were going to mess up with Sportsmaster. And also this season, I mean, you got Eclipso this season, and you got The Shade, which, you know, looks pretty darn good. But season 2 was taken over by the CW. And I was like having my doubts. I said, oh, here we go. They're going to ruin this show in just one season. And lo and behold, it starts out decently, and you bring in Eclipso, but then certain little things started to peek out. And then you had episode 8 that just came out, and you saw the interview at the beginning of this from Angelica Washington, who plays Beth Chapel on the show. And now you're putting to the point, you're virtual signaling, calling Eclipso a racist villain. I mean, I have to shake my head on this. CW was going in the right direction as far as I thought they were going with Beth Chapel to make her doubt her parents and stuff like that. That would have been the perfect situation. You know, her parents are breaking up. They've been keeping it quiet. Why are they breaking up? You know, here's the doubt of, you know, because one thing, and hey, listen, coming from someone whose parents divorced when I was a young child, you know, I can understand what the character went through, because basically, you know, when your parents separate, you think it's always especially when you're 10, 11 years old, you think, hey, listen, it's your fault. And I was figuring as the episode went on, and I had saw the interview prior, and I said, oh, I hope they're not going in this direction. And then when I saw the episode, and they were doing that part that they were like, okay, they were making her doubt, you know, her parents, what looked like her parents, which was, spoilers here, was actually an optical illusion done by Eclipso. Was making it was like, oh, it's your fault. You know, we were together, then we drifted apart, and we only stayed because of you, and it's your fault. You know, that kind of a situation. I said, well, hey, listen, there we go. That's the way to do it. Then you had the situation where Beth and Eclipso, there was the confrontation between Beth and Eclipso. And Eclipso started to throw those things. Oh, you people, you always steal all the time. And I mean, in a way, that's Eclipso trying to cast shadow on the situation, trying to cast doubt on her, which, most people say, oh yeah, he's trying to cast doubt on her and all that. But when you hear the interview from Angelica Washington and saying that Eclipso's a racist, that's what you're pushing at this point. And especially when you have the later conversation between Angelica and her mother, or Beth and her mother, and he said, oh, when I came to this town, I had a hard time because of my color, and it's like, wow, really, virtually, you're in a small town, you're new to the town, people are going to take to adjust to you. They're not, it don't matter what color you are. People are people. You're going to have some bad people in the world, and you're going to have some good people in the world, and you got people that are mixed. If you're going to a small town, and I have lived in small towns in the 90s and when I traveled down to Florida, people take time to get used to you. They're not going to take to you immediately. But when you see the way that they virtual signaled this, and they said to themselves, oh, yeah, I did, nobody, it took them a while. Of course, you go to a new place, people are just going to take their time with you because they don't know you. Don't put it to the point where it's like, people were racist and now they're not racist anymore. And Eclipso's racist. No, Eclipso is evil. If you go back to the history of Eclipso was a character. Going back to, the first appearance in the DC Comics was House of Secrets number 61 in 1963, created by Bob Hanley and Lee Elias. This was the first time you had this on here, and, when you read into Eclipso as, stuff like this, when you look at his abilities, one of them is corruption inducement, which basically he corrupts people. He turns them against each other on that. You could tout over to the Wonder Woman annual where basically Eclipso possesses Wonder Woman at one point, which he has that ability. He has spirit possession, immortality, energy vision, and energy blast, superhuman strength, speed, stamina, invulnerability, flight, weather modification, which you're seeing in the Stargirl series, which that's good. Divine siphoning, night omnipotence, mass remote possession, dark side release, corruption inducement, and possession transformation. You're starting to see all this in the TV series itself, which, I said, hey, listen, they're bringing Eclipso in, and I think, they're doing a good job until episode 8. And you may ask yourself, well, how is Stargirl doing? Well, let's go to season 1. Season 1, which I watched, had an average of about 900,000 viewers. Say 1 million. We had 1 million watching. They ended the season off, episode 13, with about 800,000. And these numbers are, they are pandemic numbers on there. So this is during the 2020 season 2 is during the 2020 season on there. And you see the numbers are, for a show like this, was pretty strong. Even though a lot of it was on the DC universe and then later on was repeated on the CW. And most of the control was over on the Warner end, that basically they had the production itself. This season, CW has more of a control of it. And the ratings, and we've gone through eight episodes already this season. They started out with a 0.720, which was down about 50, demo change of 58%, and change in viewers of 41. Then by episode 8, which was the other night, 0.467, 400,000 viewers. You have 400,000 viewers. Season average is about 600,000 at the moment. The show is losing its viewership. And yeah, there were a couple of episodes between season 1 and 7 that were so-so. I think there's only 2 episodes left to the season, if I'm not mistaken on that. On that episode 8, I did like the part with Solomon Grundy and Cameron Gellin, Our Man, that whole segment where Calypso was messing with his mind as well. You know, the whole situation where Cameron is coming from an abusive family. You put the situation. I mean, the week before that, you know, you had the Wildcat situation where she quit the team because she felt bad for the situation that she had killed somebody, which that's okay. That, you know, people say, well, that's a virtual. No. That's okay that you're going to, you know, she happens to be comes from a very religious family. She's Spanish. You know, Wildcat, the Yolanda character isn't new. In the comics, it's been around since the mid-'80s. At first, I was like saying, oh, God, they're going away from the athletic, where it's punching, you know, because the original Wildcat was a boxer. And they said, realized, wait a minute, there was a second Wildcat in the series, in the comic book series, and they came into the mid-'80s on there. And it's okay with that. And, you know, the other characters on there, the other JSA members are good. Supposedly Green Lantern is returning back, I guess, in episode 10. I mean, there are other characters on there that haven't been put, because I think there is a Dr. Fate that's supposed to be in here, and they haven't announced who's going to play Dr. Fate as far as that, because I know we have Eclipso here where you would expect Dr. Fate to be in here, or someone with magical powers. But then again, you have that other character, the Thunderbolt character that they're adding onto there, Jakeem Williams, that they're going to be doing on there, or Jakeem Thunder that they're going to have, which they change. They're making some changes on that, the Thunderbolt character. I was disappointed that they took out Cindy at Megan DeLacy's character pretty fast on there. I was expecting her to last the entire season. But overall, you could see this is the danger when you put something on CW. And you've seen this already with, they've canceled the Dark Shadow series. You're seeing the problems on the Powerpuff Girls. You've already lost your main character, your main actress on Powerpuff Girls. And you've gone back to the drawing board. You know, who knows if this show will get off the ground. You know, according to the scripts that were leaked out, it looks horrible. It looks, and then you have the virtual signaling of the 4400. And if you've seen the trailers to this, there's a lot of similarities to the episode 8, to what 4400. You know, they're putting in the racism roles in there, and not saying 4400, the original, was the greatest science fiction show out there in USA, but it was a decent show, and it had a diverse cast to it. And to see the way they're doing it now, I mean, all you're seeing as far as the trailers, they have like the individual trailers where they're showing the characters. All I've seen is black characters. Are there anyone else other than black characters in the show? I mean, this is what they call diverse. That's not being diverse. The Expanse TV series is diverse. You know, adding an entire cast, you know, like a Black Panther or something that where about 90% of the cast is of one minority, doesn't make it diverse. It's not diverse at all. You don't have a mixture of Asian or Hispanics or say a Polish person or a German person, a European, you know, South American, a French person. You know, if you're going to say diverse, you got to go all the way. See, this is the reason why you can't. Hollywood has to stop this virtual signaling bullshit, this activist bullshit that goes on day in, day out. Need to stop this. This is what's ruining Hollywood. All this activism and all these people that says we got to do this for the modern era. You know, hear these words. This TV series for the modern era, and this is why I fear for the worst for Babylon 5. They're going to make it modern to the modern era. They're going to make it, visibly virtual signaling. We have already heard the virtual signaling from the Venom movie, from the person who wrote it. You know, it comes to these situations that you have to say to yourself, I need to stop opening my wallet to these companies. And this is what I'm telling you. You need to stop opening your wallets to these companies. If you show them that it says, listen, I don't want this. I really don't truly want this. They'll stop making them. You got to stop them. They won't hire. They'll fire all these people and replace them. We got a strike coming up here. Depending on what day this video airs, there's a strike vote going on. If I'm not mistaken, probably have just finished. The vote is just finished when this particular video airs, and it's going to cripple Hollywood. And that's, you're going to get the independent producers, independent companies, stuff that is non-unionized. They're going to start making product. They're going to churn out a lot of product. Don't be surprised if YouTube gets flooded with a lot of new shows that are independently done by independent YouTubers like this show. Don't be surprised at that, because basically this is the chance they're going to take to show you that they could shine better than what network television or Hollywood can put out in a short period of time. I've seen some stuff on here. I've seen fan editions of Star Trek and Doctor Who and many other shows that have been done here and have done as very well produced. If they had some good money into it, they could even do it better. I mean, we've seen Star Trek Continues. We've seen Axanar and how good of a quality those are. Much better than what CBS is producing. I think CW is coming down to its end. And how much longer do they have? Hard to say at this point. We would have to see how many more shows they cancel in the next several months, because that's going to happen. Your average show, most of the DC shows, with the exception of Superman, are in the same boat as Stargirl now. Stargirl is at a 400,000 level. Same thing with every other show. You know, Batwoman has another season coming out. Why? These are the things that are the stupidity. I mean, we just heard recently Law and Order, the original Law and Order, is going to get another season. Why? It's been 11 years since they canceled that show. Just because the spin-off, the new Law and Order series is doing well, don't bring back the other one. We're done with that. Move on. Dick Wolf, make another series. You've made many series throughout the years. Why are you reviving this show? It doesn't need a revival. Finish off the sex crimes one and focus on the new one. And maybe make one other. You've had other shows fail, success and failure throughout the years. I mean, NBC is also shooting from the hip as well. And I'm not talking Peacock, I'm talking the NBC network. I mean, they got that crazy La Brea that's running right now that's just insane. I mean, what is a top show right now? What's a Squid Game? Squid Game is beginning to beat out everything on Netflix. That should tell you something, and that is from Korea. If a show from Korea about a violent game show, it's a violent game show, does very well versus Brigaton and the rest of the lineup on there, that should tell you people don't want the shows that you're putting out. They don't want the virtual signaling. So we'll have to see what happens next with CW. How long will they last? I give them 2 more years in this business. I'm being nice. I'm giving them 2 more years in this business if they don't fix themselves. If they go beyond 2 years, you definitely have to ask where the money's coming from. So we reached this part of the video. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Also, do check out our next edition of Saturday Pre-Flight. We got some great stuff coming this week. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.
funny if it weren't so pathetic. No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.